This is GBC News, the headlines. Gibraltar residents without a red ID card are subjected to EES checks at the frontier. Health and Business Minister Gemma Arias-Vázquez says she is a product of the European project. La Línea Mayor says Spanish workers employed in Gibraltar will have their pensions topped up by the Spanish government. The Business Advisory Group raises a number of treaty-related concerns on behalf of the business community. And government departments pull together to ensure people stop feeding junk food to Barbary macaques. Good evening. GBC understands the Spanish authorities have today been asking Gibraltar residents crossing the border without a red ID card to do the EES checks. This is an apparent change in policy. The government has previously said that Gibraltar residents would not be subject to full EES checks, with arrangements still being negotiated to maintain fluidity at the border. In answer to GBC questions, Number 6 has this evening said we are in the process of seeking information on these instances. Health and Business Minister Gemma Arias-Vázquez has told GBC News she is a product of the European project, and her presence at the Nueva Economia Forum in Madrid was an example of what the European project was all about. Ms. Arias-Vázquez studied in the UK and has lived and worked as a lawyer in both London and Madrid, later becoming the lead voice of the Remain campaign on the Rock and then part of Fabian Picardo's last cabinet as Chief Minister. Mr. Picardo referred to this in his address before the forum, saying this was the ideal model for citizens under the new treaty. Jonathan Sacramento caught up with her in Madrid just after the event at the Palace Hotel.
Yes, we were in Barcelona, then we went to London, and now we've come here to Madrid. All very exciting.
And how did this come about? How did your participation in these events come about?
So we started because the GSLP is a member of Socialist International. So through Socialist International, we've been at several events. Malta, for example, a couple of months ago was one of them. And the Global Progressive Movement in Madrid was started by Socialist International and the Party of European Socialists. So it's a collaboration between them both. And then the Chief Minister was invited to participate in one of the panels in his capacity as Chief Minister of Gibraltar. So we attended that forum as Chief Minister and as Minister for Health. So it all started from our membership of Socialist International, but it's grown based on the relationships formed through Socialist International.
And your presence before the Foreign Minister yesterday was in what capacity?
We accompanied the Chief Minister simply because we'd spoken to him in Barcelona, and it seemed like the logical extension of that.
Quite a significant moment for you, though, in your personal capacity as well, and as a part of your progression of your political career.
It's a very exciting moment for Gibraltar, I think. It's a moment when Gibraltar was welcomed into the Ministry for Foreign Affairs in Spain. It was a huge moment. And like I said, I think it's great to normalise these relationships. We've had significant interaction with them at events previously. We had interaction at events for Socialist International in Malta. We've had interaction with the Prime Minister and the Minister for Foreign Affairs in Barcelona. So it was very exciting to do it in a formal capacity here in Madrid as well.
And your thoughts on today at the Nueva Economia Forum here at the Palace Hotel? It's quite a prestigious event. We've seen some of the high-profile geopolitical speakers who have made their presence known in these walls for over the last few weeks. Your thoughts on having attended here?
It's a great forum to be at. It's a great forum to represent Gibraltar and to normalise Gibraltar. I think people here in Madrid have a vision of Gibraltar which is very far away from the reality of what Gibraltar is. So the more we come to these events, the more we speak at these events, the more we can normalise conversations about Gibraltar, putting to one side the obvious dispute that there is.
and of course mentioned in dispatches. Your name was on the Chief Minister's tongue throughout his speech as well, to quite a significant level.
Well, I'm in the room and I'm a very good example of what the European model was. So I was mentioned because I led the Stronger In campaign, and the Stronger In campaign, of course, was the start of this, because of this process, because it was because of Brexit that we find ourselves here. And the voice of the Gibraltarians spoke out very strongly in the results of the referendum, when 96% of us voted to remain in the EU. We wanted to stay in the EU. We were dragged out kicking and screaming. So I think it's very important that I was mentioned in that capacity because of the context of the referendum. I was then mentioned as a sort of example of what the European model was to us. I studied in the United Kingdom. I worked in the United Kingdom in a law firm in London, and that law firm in London was able to send me to a law firm in Madrid, in which I worked for 8 months here in the capital. It's the very example of what the European model provided for Gibraltar and the Gibraltarians, and it normalised that when I was in my early 20s. So it's a very good example of the way that the European model opened minds for young Gibraltarians and indeed young Europeans, because at the time I'm sure we all felt that we were part of that European project.
Returning to our top story, and word just in from the government on the issue of frontier checks. Number 6 says legal residents of Gibraltar with all colours of residence cards can access Schengen via Spain without EES unless they request to do so. Some anomalies detected today appear to relate to misunderstood instructions through the Spanish chain of command. Well, in other news, the mayor of La Línea has told GBC that Spanish workers employed in Gibraltar will have their pensions topped up by the Spanish government to the minimum threshold to help address the disparity between pension levels in Gibraltar and Spain. Ian Clarence spoke to Juan Franco following a visit to La Línea by José Manuel Álvarez. Looking ahead to the treaty's implementation, he said there were still issues to be resolved, highlighting the recent case of a Spanish worker who died in Gibraltar.
Bueno, lo primero, una diferencia importante de que el ministro, con la agenda que tiene, haya venido a nuestra ciudad a comentarnos pues varios aspectos muy importantes respecto del acuerdo Brexit, y después pues bueno, en la Cámara de Comercio del Campo de Gibraltar en Algeciras pues se ha ampliado esta información. De lo que nos ha comentado, yo me quedo fundamentalmente con el comentario que nos ha hecho de que se va a equiparar por parte del Gobierno de España las pensiones mínimas, o sea, las pensiones que cobren los trabajadores que se jubilen en Gibraltar con las pensiones mínimas contributivas o no contributivas aquí en España, que son sensiblemente más altas, ¿no? Sí que es importante que quedan todavía aspectos para determinar, de ver exactamente qué requisitos se van a exigir, porque se prevé, en principio parece ser que dentro de lo que es un periodo de 10 años, uno de esos años tiene que ser cotizado en España para poder acogerse a estos beneficios y demás. Me refiero a la pensión contributiva, y bueno, creo que eso ya es importante porque es una cuestión que hemos repetido hasta la saciedad y que, como siempre hemos dicho, no se lo reivindicamos al Gobierno de Gibraltar porque el tratamiento es igual respecto de pensiones de un trabajador español o un trabajador gibraltareño en las mismas condiciones. Sí que le estábamos haciendo esta reivindicación a nuestro gobierno y bueno, parece que va a entrar en lo que es la agenda pública de las cuestiones que más nos preocupan.
La expectación entonces que esto para el 15 de julio esté en efectivo, ¿no?
Sí, la cuestión también importante, me he centrado en el tema de pensionistas porque para nosotros es lo más sensible, pero la otra cuestión, y se anunció una fecha, si no me equivoco, el 10 de abril, que sinceramente la veía demasiado precipitada. Segunda fecha que se ha anunciado, esa sí me parece ya más realista, es el 15 de julio. Ahora si te acerca a la zona de la parte española de la frontera, se puede apreciar que se está llevando a cabo una obra importante para conectar lo que es la aduana gibraltareña con las instalaciones de Gibraltar, para que el vial pueda tener el recorrido adecuado. También se están llevando a cabo una serie de adecuaciones de la terminal del aeropuerto de Gibraltar en suelo español para poder llevar a cabo los controles Schengen, y lo que está claro es que bueno, a partir del 15 de julio, que parece que es una fecha realista, pues podamos tener ya ese desmantelamiento de unas instalaciones que bueno, han separado a dos pueblos hermanos y que espero que puedan marcar por un antes y un después en nuestras relaciones, para bien.
¿La aplicación entonces del acuerdo lo ve claro tú? ¿O hay detalles todavía que hay porque...?
Hay cuestiones que yo creo que hasta que no arranquemos No sabemos qué va a pasar exactamente, fundamentalmente porque yo tengo 50 años, porque mi padre tiene 76 y desde que se acuerda la frontera estaba ahí. Y además, pues bueno, aquellos 13 malditos años cerradas y demás, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, va a generarse un nuevo paradigma, una nueva situación que estoy seguro que va a ser positiva, pero que habrá un periodo transitorio donde tendremos que estar vigilantes para que aquel aspecto negativo que se dé, porque alguno habrá, poder corregirlo. De hecho, se prevé la creación de un organismo de gobernanza de estas cuestiones, donde estarán presentes el Gobierno de España, el Gobierno de Gibraltar. Espero que se tenga en cuenta también la opinión, al menos, del Ayuntamiento de la Línea, ya que somos los que estamos aquí a pie de obra, y poder atender pues las circunstancias negativas que se den, que espero que sean las menores y que en un periodo de tiempo mínimo se solventen pues aquellas cuestiones que no estén previstas y que se den. Sin ir más lejos, el otro día, por ejemplo, falleció un trabajador español en Gibraltar y para poder traerlo aquí los restos, pues bueno, hubo que incinerarlo en Gibraltar y demás. Son cuestiones de humanidad que cuando vayan dándose habrá que ir buscando soluciones a cuestiones hasta cierto punto menores, pero que a la familia que le afecta pues son bastante delicadas y dolorosas. Lo importante, lo vamos a llamar lo nuclear, que es el tránsito por la frontera o la situación de los pensionistas, parece que se está teniendo en cuenta y esperemos que en breve pues tengamos una nueva realidad y que sea positiva.
Well, GBC has put questions to the government on the issue of the death of the Spanish worker Mr. Franco refers to in his interview. The Business Advisory Group has met with government today to raise a number of treaty-related concerns on behalf of the business community. These include financial assistance, written guidance, and import procedures. In a joint letter sent by the Federation of Small Business, the Chamber of Commerce and business representatives, the groups call for urgent action to ensure businesses are ready for treaty implementation on the 15th of July. The groups say there is a continued lack of clear, comprehensive and accessible written guidance around procedures and requirements. They want detailed guidance on importation processes, EORI and NIF requirements, transitional arrangements, freight arrangements, and proposed financial guarantees related to IVA liabilities. They also want greater transparency on projected revenues of the transaction tax to understand whether the support is proportionate. The group propose a treaty office to support businesses through the transition. At the Magistrates' Court, 2 Spanish residents were remanded in custody after being charged with importing 284.5 kilos of cannabis resin. Leopoldo Otero Moreno and Pedro Alexis Bermudez are charged with importing the controlled drug into Gibraltar on the 22nd of April. They face counts of importation, possession and possession with intent to supply the Class B substance. The matter was adjourned to the 30th of April. The Department of the Environment and Ministry of Tourism say they work together with Monkey Talks to ensure locals as well as tourists know not to feed Barbary macaques junk food. It follows the monkeys making international headlines this week following a study which found they're eating soil to counteract the effects of junk food. Kellyanne Borge spoke to Stephen Waugh and Audisa Rodriguez on Gibraltar Today.
We know it's a problem. We know it's something that we can do better. We do have plans in place, and we're working very closely with colleagues from the Gibraltar Tourist Board to sort of instill the positive, the more ethical way of viewing our Barbary macaques, as opposed to the token photo on Instagram of having a macaque on your shoulder. That's something that we want to move away from. The industry itself is moving in that direction. Yeah. It's something that we are very much aware, and we have numerous plans in place moving forward to try and help us reach that objective.
How hard is it to balance, Audisa, in terms of tourism, promoting the macaques, but also still protecting their well-being?
Yeah, so in all of our tourist literature on our websites, we obviously talk about the macaques being one of the most popular, tourist things to do in Gibraltar, but we always caveat that with, these are wild animals. look at them from afar, be careful with any bags, because as we've said, they're very clever. They associate humans with food now. So they'll look at any opportunity to, snatch a snack. And as Stephen mentioned, we work very closely with Monkey Talks, Brian Gamila, who comes and assists us when we deliver the examinations for tour guides. And it's a big part of the syllabus that they need to study. Anybody that wants to become a tour guide in Gibraltar, and then part of the exam, a lot of emphasis goes into making sure that those tour guides have enough knowledge.
What about in terms of fines? How strictly are they imposed?
Well, I think we can do better. First and foremost. I mean, so far this year we've got, unfortunately, 2 individuals reported for process. I mean, it's something we want to...
Were they local or tourists?
Locals, yes, locals. It's something that obviously it's not good news, but it does get the message across. I mean, it's not the first time individuals have been fined. It's something that we use as a last resort. The last thing you want to do is fine somebody in front of visitors. It doesn't show Gibraltar in the best light. But rest assured, it's something that, this study certainly serves to highlight that in order to protect macaques, we need to include this as part of the wider tools that are being used.
And I believe it's quite a hefty fine as well. Can you remind us of how much it is?
There are different types of fines. If you are caught feeding a macaque, you could be fined up to £500. If for whatever reason that fine is contested and you end up in court, you could face a fine of up to £4,000.
So when you say more can be done, is that just in the case of monitoring, of having someone physically there?
Well, it's a range of reasons. I mean, I think, first of all, the intention is to have individuals, like guards, essentially, in all our different hotspots where individuals see the macaques. We have people there already, but they are on rotation. I mean, ideally, we need people there stationed frequently, and that's exactly what we're planning to do.
We're watching GBC News. Still to come, we'll tell you about a technology fun day hosted by the Citizens Advice Bureau. There's a special fundraiser at the King's Chapel, and we look ahead to a busy weekend of sport. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Welcome to SEPSA Gibraltar, your one-stop station for every journey. Refuel fast, recharge your EV and drive cleaner with our AdBlue service. Step inside Carrefour Express for fresh food, drinks and daily essentials. From road trips to quick stops, we've got everything you need, all in one place. SEPSA Gibraltar, powering your drive every day.
Some things are too precious to leave to chance. At JT Security, we understand the value of discretion. With 24-hour surveillance, our graded safe deposit boxes offer you complete security and privacy. Furthermore, our competitive rates make it the most affordable in Gibraltar. JT Security, your valuables, our guarantee.
At Carlos.gi, the latest tech is just a click away. Our team picks, packs and preps every order with care. Then it's out the door and on its way to you. Unbox the goods for a cleaner home, better breakfast and louder tunes. Carlos.gi, from our store to your door.
If you're looking for the perfect spot to enjoy breakfast, lunch or dinner, make your way to Bianca's Bar and Restaurant down at Marina Bay, where we've been serving great food since 1979. Our tempting menu and daily specials are available for dining in or takeaway. Relax and watch the world go by at Bianca's Marina Bay, the happiest place out of town.
Welcome back. For many these days, technology is second nature, but for others it can feel like a real barrier. A technology fun day hosted by the Citizens Advice Bureau at Europort set out to change that, helping older people build confidence with digital skills from managing passwords to using everyday devices. Support doesn't end there, with the option to schedule one-to-one sessions offering more personalized help. And as Katie Docker found out, for some, learning these skills can be life-changing.
It's very, very needed, and I feel lost if I don't really know how to settle with my mobile. I find this very encouraging.
I've just taught this lady to clear things because she's got her mobile and she's got it full of things which she doesn't need, and it's taking a lot of memory, and I'm explaining that to her.
It would be interesting to know how to use this more fully. You know, I've just got basic things and I'm sure that I'm not using it to its potential.
I have so many photos, I want to sort them out. There's so many that I can't put any more in.
It's a bit overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. I just don't know what to do with it, you know. I've never bought anything online. I want to learn how to do that.
You know, knowledge is power, and the senior citizens or people of the older age were lacking that information. And you know, in a digital world that we live in, most of that information is online. So we thought that we needed to train people or allow them to learn about computers in order to access that information.
That's great. And this year we've also got some younger people here. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, we have some A-level students to help us teach whatever they want to learn today in a short period of time. So as an initial course, a small course, before they come to the office to CAB to learn a bit more.
I'm interested in accounts, and yes, very useful.
And you're teaching her?
I'm teaching her Excel currently. You know, very happy to be here. It's lovely to see the younger generation come and help the people who need more digital literacy in Gibraltar.
Just wanted to make the older people, the older generation, feel safe in themselves and not be so scared of technology, because a lot of them have like a prejudice towards technology that it's this big thing, but really it's not as difficult as they think it is.
I've never liked computers, so even, you know, when they came out, I was reluctant to learn. But you have to learn, unfortunately.
If you don't know the technology, you don't know to do things like this, you got it. You've got a problem. I'm 80-year-old now. I'm trying to be as young as ever.
It's mostly new to them, so it's good for them to start learning about more stuff and be more independent with the stuff that they need to know.
I've written a book, I've done all sorts of things, but I can't handle myself on a few of these items. So it's thrilling, and it's. I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to CAB. I think they're just stunning.
This is obviously a whole new world compared to when you were younger, for example.
Totally. I mean, I remember when I wrote a play that I put on in their showcase at the West End, I had to do it on a brother computer, and I was using fax to Brazil and what have you. We didn't have anything like the modern concept today. So I belong to that generation. My sister belongs to the generation where they used huge ledgers to do things. So, and we've come leaps and bounds, but sometimes between the leaps and bounds we got a little bit caught between the lines.
Now, this Sunday, we'll see a special fundraiser at the King's Chapel, bringing together the Gibraltar and Portsmouth Military Wives Choir, SAFA, and the Band and Corps of Drums of the Royal Gibraltar Regiment. Money raised will support Military Wives Choirs and SAFA, and with a retiring collection for service charities as well. The charity's chairman, Alan Jones, choir member, Jen Close, and bandmaster Andy Burkett all joined Kellyanne Borge on Gibraltar Today.
Well, we have a joint programme of some band pieces, some choir-only pieces, and then we've got a grand finale where the choir and the band and corps of drums will join together for a dramatic finale for the end of the concert.
Alan, tell me, why is this fundraiser so important for SAFA?
I mean, we're always looking for ways to raise the funds to support the welfare needs of military personnel and their families, but also can carry on projects that allow us to connect the community. And I think that's something that's really special about Sunday's event is the Military Wives Choir was formed to bring people together when they're struggling. Andy and the band are doing some amazing work with a band that they've set up to allow people to come together and try out instruments and things like that. It's all about kind of creating that community, creating that space where people don't feel isolated and alone, which is core to the charity.
And what about for yourself, Jen? What does it mean being part of this choir?
It's great, and because as Andy said, it's a collaboration with the Military Wives Choir in Portsmouth as well. So it's the two bands coming together, and it's the first time, really, I think, that the Gibraltar Choir has